Hello and welcome back to the Real Estate Roundup podcast. I am your host, Kobe Zinn, and I am joined here, as always, by my co-hosts, Andres Martinez and Tony Flores. How you guys doing today?
Howdy, doing
Awesome.
great, man.
Awesome. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's the holiday seasons, and we're going to be talking about a pretty cool topic today for anybody who is looking to either get into real estate or looking to they're already a real estate agent, but they're just newer to the industry. So that's what we're going to be covering today is for new real estate agents and those who are thinking about becoming a real estate agent or maybe in the process of getting their real estate license. What are some of the real expectations you can have coming into this industry directly from the source, which is you guys sharing your experience as licensed real estate agents and experienced investors in this space. But before we do that, let's catch up here with our co-hosts and kind of see what you guys been up to this holiday season. So, Tony, we'll start with you. I know you got some pretty exciting things going on recently.
Yeah, some pretty exciting stuff. So we are doing our podcast here. It's December, and recently just came back from my son's graduation from college. So we had a nice time. Spent a few days out there and enjoyed the couple of graduations. Actually, he and his girlfriend, they both graduated kind of back to back on different days, but really enjoyed it. Spent some time with family. We've also, Vanessa and I, we also had a holiday, a Christmas party for our brokerage. So we hung out. We, made a lot of connections. Some of the other stuff as well. Working on business planning for the new year and things like that. So, just a lot of stuff. Having fun, but also getting some work done as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting work done during the season. And yeah, so you congrats on that, Tony, by the way, your son graduating. So big shout out. And what college is he at again? If you remind our
But
viewers here.
yeah, he's at Texas A&M University in College Station, and he's in engineering. He's a uh, materials and manufacturing engineering technology. Uh, so he's actually pursuing his master's, and we're very proud of him. Did really well, and looking forward to we thought we'd be spending more time with him after he graduated, but now he's pursuing even higher education. So
It's
we're
awesome.
very excited for him.
Awesome, man. So not following in the family footsteps in real estate, right?
Not
Yeah.
at this point. Not at this point.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe one day in the future, right? All the investments
sure.
coming in.
There's always room for real estate. He'll need a. I'm sure he'll be buying real estate. After he graduates, and he might want to get into investing as well. So
Oh, absolutely. It's not something exclusively for people who are looking to do it full time, right? You can always get into it slowly.
sure, absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Andres? I know you've been up to some pretty exciting things as well, right?
Yes, I think I went to about 4 or 5 Christmas parties last week, just catching up with friends and just people within the real estate market, even getting updates from my loan officers at these parties. Like, hey, did you realize the interest rate took a big dip? And I was like, yes, which is good news to end the year, right? We've had a pretty uh, a year that took like a downturn because the interest rates went up. So that was good news to end the year. Um, as far as for myself, I helped 2 other people become homeowners last week, and just pre-planning. Even though we're winding down 2023, I got to prepare for 2024, and I'm just excited. Anything you do within real estate, you have to be intentional, and planning is key. So I've been doing a lot of planning lately.
Yep. And that's good. And that's a little sneak peek into what we're going to be talking about here, right, in this episode, which is, what it takes to be successful in real estate. And I think it's a good opportunity for people to think about, maybe leveraging the next holiday season or, just any kind of social events or any holidays or special occasions to see this as an opportunity to either make new connections or to strengthen your existing connections within the industry with all of your vendors and partners, but also make new connections outside of this industry as far as bringing in new clients to your database as well. So let's get started. As far as talking about today's topic, I'm super excited about this because I think there's a lot of people, especially now with the market being, on the up a little bit and getting a little bit better in 2024 here, that more people are going to look into becoming real estate agents and getting into the industry as a professional. So the topic today is going to be really around, what are some of the expectations a new agent should have and some of the misconceptions they might have coming into the industry. So I want to start there. And you both are, have your real estate license for a little bit, and you guys are working actively with new agents as well. I do want to point out that both Tony and Andres are certified mentors within the brokerage EXP Realty in the state of San Antonio. So first things first, right? And the question is, what is the biggest misconception of new real estate agents? So what is the biggest misconception that a new real estate agent have coming into the real estate business about this industry? So we'll start with you, Andres.
For me, from the feedback I've got from multiple new real estate agents is there have some disappointment that their broker does not send them leads. As far as when you become a real estate agent, you're practically running your own business. So you have to plant seeds, you have to work your referral base, you might have to cold call. So the misconception of you join a brokerage and they forward you referrals, that's probably the biggest one.
Right. So what I'm hearing here is a lot of new agents come into the industry and they think business is going to be handed to them, right? So they're going to get leads from their brokers or maybe their team leaders if they're joining a team. But that's not the case, right? They have to actually run their own business and generate their own clients, which is really important. So what about you, Tony? I mean, you've came into the industry as well now for a couple of years. What are some misconceptions that you've heard as far as new people coming into the industry, or maybe some of the ones that you had when you first got your license?
Yeah, and for sure, definitely agree with Andres. And when you get licensed, it's a great accomplishment. However, it doesn't translate into you just like people coming to you and saying, okay, help me sell my house or help me buy a house. This job is an active job. They say it's I think the term they use is it's a, what is it, they say don't be a secret agent. So, right now more and more the ability to, get yourself out there and get your name out there is super, super important. So you want to be real active as much as possible in your community, in the things, the relationships that you've already built and established with people is super, super important because those are the people that already, they know you, they like you, they trust you. Those are the ones that are going to be likely your first clients. It's not going to be common that someone just, you know they're not going to just dial up your phone number. Once you get licensed, saying, "Hey, help me with the house." You're going to just need to be, more active. And yeah, the, there if someone is going to give you the leads, and it's very uncommon, but if they do, they're likely get a big chunk of your commission for that. But yeah, so you've got to really get your name out there. That's super, super important. And a lot of people think, I get licensed, I'm just going to start making money. You could be punching just like you're going to work, but you're not going to yield necessarily the the fruits of your labor till it be a month, 2 months, or even further down the line. So just depends on your connections and how you can relate to people and explain your value proposition as well.
Yeah. And that's a really good point that you brought up, which is the value proposition of a real estate agent. And I think a lot of newer agents, especially, and even some experienced agents in the business, have actually a hard time of articulating that, which is what is your value as a real estate agent? So, from, maybe you can share your current perspective as far as, what your value proposition is right now. But, maybe talk a little bit about that as developing a value proposition. What should at least what should the core fundamentals of an agent's value be when they're going out there and talking to clients, and then maybe what are some things they should add on that to make that unique. So we'll start with you this time, Tony.
Yeah. So the value proposition for myself, just being very active, being an agent that builds relationships with other agents, that has good communication style, that can be flexible and can relate to them, because really it is a people business. Not only when you're interacting with your clients, you're interacting with other agents. It's super important to just get on the phone, meet with them potentially, depending on what their availability is, and you know let them know that you're there to work with them. You're not necessarily there just to kind of butt heads with them, because if you're just there to if you put your ego in front of the deal, your clients, you're really hurting your clients. So you have to kind of go in without an ego, and just need to know, like, you're there to bridge a gap between what your client needs and what the other side needs. So if we can do that, that's a very good thing to do in this business, because people are going to want to do business, and they know the kind of person you are through the interactions. So answering the phone is very important. Being responsive with text messaging or other things like that. What are the limits that you're going to apply for yourself? What time of day you're available. Those are all sorts of things that people need to decide for themselves. It's kind of interesting. Sometimes I'll call somebody, they won't answer the phone, and just say immediately, hey, I'm available from this time to this time. So that's apparently what works for that agent. I myself am available um, quite a bit, make myself available, because at the end of the day, the deals can get across the line and I can get to something sooner. It's always more helpful to be available sooner rather than later.
Right. Yeah, and that's important for an agent, right? Because you're representing your client's best interests, and you want to make sure everything moves forward with the transaction,
Yeah,
as quickly and as timely as possible. So it's a really good piece to kind of add, as far as in your tool belt, of what can you offer a client.
yeah.
Now, what about you, Andres? As far as understanding an agent's value proposition, what would you say to a new agent or somebody who is looking to get into the business, as this should be part of your core fundamental value proposition?
I think a core value should be, even though real estate agents, we get licensed, that's just the beginning into us getting educated. A market is not set. So interest rates go up, we having to use certain products or certain programs that could benefit our clients, and then the market could be down, and then the market adjusts. So you got to be able to be knowledgeable with different programs. So the education is key. And then second would be being able to manage expectations, being able to explain to your clients what to expect. Um, and that could sometimes make people a little bit nervous or scared. But if you're just transparent and honest and you're able to convey the information properly, it should be pretty straightforward. And if your client has a question, and if you don't know the answer, you got to be able to seek the information to provide the correct answer for your client. So education and expectations go side by side.
Right. So you're always having to, as a real estate agent, go out there and add to your knowledge, right? You're adding more skills, you're adding more ability to add value by educating yourself. And I mean, if you guys go back, right, and watch some of our previous episodes here, we talk a lot about interest rates and different ways for clients to be able to navigate that. Also, new builds and different ways that you guys are actually educating yourselves on new builds, right? New build homes. So these are all things that I think new agents should be keeping in mind, as far as what are some ways you can educate yourselves, and also what are some ways to have these more difficult conversations with clients. And I think that's actually a good point to maybe dig a little bit deeper into, is having setting the right expectations, right? Maybe having a little bit of a difficult conversation with a potential client that they might not, they might not like the answer to one of their questions. So, Andres, we'll start with you. How would you give, what advice would you give new agents as far as them being able to properly navigate difficult conversations with a client? What are some things they should keep in mind?
So this is just with my experience. In the beginning, when I started being an agent, I would be very afraid uh, to convey information that might make the client upset. But as I worked in the best interest of my client and I just conveyed that information, I came to realize that the client actually appreciated it because um, when we were needing to make a decision, they would ask me, "So what do you think?" And I would explain, "Well, there's only two different scenarios that can go. These are probably going to be the likely scenarios. If you make a decision, they knew what to expect. Either, hey, we're going to move forward, or we're going to get out of the contract." And they had to be comfortable with making that decision. So I think if you educate them up front, then it's a little bit easier when that issue comes to fruition. They can make a better decision. First of all, they slept on it. Second of all, they knew what to expect. Um, and then third, they kind of already knew if this presents itself, this is what I'm going to move forward with. But if this presents itself, I got to be okay from walking away from a deal. One thing real estate agents need to know, you have to be comfortable with being able to walk away from a deal. If it does not serve your client's best interest, it's okay to walk away. Or we could start a new deal, but it has to be in the best interest of your client.
Yeah, that's so important, right? So having like, I would even say like having the courage to, be able to give the information up front, but also being able to, have the ability to walk away from a deal when you know it's not going to work out, and just basically having it all laid out on the table in front of them, so that way there's no miscommunication, or there's no, there's no thoughts of you misholding information as well. It's always better to just give somebody the proper expectations up front than it is to withhold it or even be afraid of telling them that. So now, Tony, as far as for you, I know you work with a lot of foreclosures and a lot of clients who are going through maybe like a difficult process, even in their lives, right, with this real estate problem. So
Right.
as far as you being able to navigate those conversations, what are some of the best advice that you would give from your experience?
In dealing with people in tough situations, the main thing that I do is I kind of lay out a different different paths, if you will. Okay, this is the potential of what happens if you go down this road. This is the potential it goes down this road, and right here. So there's lots of different ways. I provide them different options of things that they can do if they're in that situation. One, for the really like 99.9% of the people are just they don't want to lose their home. So that's certainly understandable. They've already invested time. Nobody likes to move, uprooting their home, things like that. So I let them know multiple options or ways they can stay in their home. And then if some of those options don't work out, or they're not an option, um, I'll still lay them out as, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And then at the end of the day, it's like, okay, if there's a hard stop, if there isn't a way to stay in your home, now here are some other ways to navigate it. You know, provide help with resources as far as the, the next move, uh, with moving boxes and moving companies and things like that. So just let them know what that could look like, and just lay it all out there really at the front, because like they need to know, like, this is a whole journey that you could be part of. And if this door is closed, then we need to look at the other doors that are open. And the last, really, people don't want to go through that legal procedure. So I also want to give them a lot of different options, and it's not just a cookie cutter option for everybody. So the main thing is to give them a listening ear and hear what they're going through, and seeing, okay, what are the potential options that they have available for them. We'll go through those multiple options and see if I can help them with one of those. And it's not always, sometimes it could be, moving in with a family member. It could be they potentially could have a potential to stay in there. So we want to definitely explore that option and exhaust that option if it's a possibility, and be there later on down the road if they need my help later on down the road. So yeah, main thing is letting them know all the options, and it's just like, a typical scenario, but it's really one thing that I try to get them very focused on, because there's so much coming to somebody in foreclosure situation. They're getting bombarded with lots of different people, and a lot of people are just giving them, one option. And so I myself, I've been in the investor shoes. I do some investments myself, but I have other options, other tools available to me, because you know, we've helped multiple people in that same situation. So I let them know what other ways are as well.
Right. And that's one of the responsibilities as an agent, right? Is not to necessarily make a decision for somebody, but to lay out all the different options and then be able to serve their clients whichever option they feel is best for their situation. So I think that is something to, for people who are, newer or looking to get into the industry, important to remember is, sometimes it might be even a good thing if you think about it, is that you don't have to have the burden of making that decision because it's not your decision to make, right? You just have to be able to present all the correct options
Right.
for a client. So, in somebody who is looking to, either get their license or who is already licensed, I think they have they really want to know what their day-to-day activities are. They want to know, what does a real estate agent actually do? And I don't think a lot of people outside of the industry have a good grasp on kind of like the day-to-day of a real estate agent, and what their day looks like. So we'll start with you this time, Tony. What does a real estate agent's day-to-day activities look like, and what should a new agent be expecting to do with their time every day?
Yeah. So this is actually a very good question, and the best time to think about these activities are not on day one. The best time to think about this as you're going through the process of getting licensed, and you're going to start planting some seeds. And I've actually just recently written a little mini ebook, electronic book, that I'm offering for free as well. But there's a lot of different things you can do as you're getting licensed that you can kind of plant the seeds. So, but what you should be doing in, is you should be creating a schedule of activities to do. Um, you should be also, before you actually get licensed, ideally, if and some people get licensed as they have a full time job. Sometimes they have their they work from home, or they have a lot of freedom, but they've got to start making connections actually before they get licensed. That's the best thing they can do, and then start deciding on if you're going to have a niche or a specialty that you want to do. Look at those different ways to create that niche, and then build your schedule towards your niche for the activities that you're going to be doing. You're going to create a daily schedule and have activities that are tied and that are going to drive you to get to that niche. There's lots of different ways to go after business. Some people go after the target is being for sale by owners. Some people go after people that are in foreclosures, like myself. Some people want to be luxury agents or new home agents. Like, and the main thing is don't have a big uh, don't do a shotgun effect. Have a more structured effect, saying like, okay, this is what I feel like I'm best suited for, and you need to attack really kind of one realm, ideally. Um, really ideally one realm. If you want to put yourself and expose yourself on social media, then start getting yourself updated and having market knowledge even before you get licensed. You can even start putting out some content and start talking about the markets even before you get licensed. People start asking you questions. So it's ideally best to start before, and I've got more information on that. So if you have any questions on it, feel free to just drop me a text or an email, and we can talk more about that later. But a lot of good tips and tricks. What to do.
Right. Right. I mean, and that's what, I think it's always good practice, right? Like Andres was just talking about the beginning of the podcast, it's a business where you have to plan and you have to plan ahead. So if you're in real estate school or you're getting a real estate license or even considering getting your license, it might be a good time to start thinking about these things early. So that way when you do have your license, you can really just hit the ground running and start building start building your business. So real quick here before we move on, Andres, Tony, what are the best ways people can find that ebook you were talking about?
Just text me. My best contact really is just tonyexp.com, and I'll send that to you. And I've got a little visitor too. All right.
Awesome. Uh, all right, Andres. So, what about you? I mean, as a day-to-day activities as a real estate agent, what is your advice to somebody who is getting into real estate and might not know, kind of might not know what they should be doing every day?
So I would like to just share like my daily routine. So as I was going through masterminds with the Wolfpack, uh, they give you kind of ideas on how to manage your day, how to multitask, how to get stuff accomplished in a timely manner. A lot of the things that happen in my day to day are interchangeable. So my routine is I wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, drive the kids to school, and then I make it to the gym for an hour. While I'm at the gym, I'm also either listening to a mastermind or a podcast or something of substance or education regarding with real estate. So I try to stay up to date on information, and then after that, I make it to the house. Take a shower, get in the office, and I go through all my files with my clients. I see if I have anything that where I need to reach out either to a lender, to an inspection, someone for inspection. I'll walk through a new builder, or maybe even another agent with an existing home transaction. I just make sure that that gets squared away early in the morning. So if there's any big events happening within the next day or so, I can tackle those early. We can get everything squared away by the afternoon, and make sure that we have our closing, we have our walkthrough either the next day or the following day. So I do the heavy lifting before 12 o'clock. Then I might take like a 30-minute lunch. And then in the afternoon, if I'm not at a mixer or if I'm not getting some type of education from a title company, guys, people that want to do business with you, they're going to invest in you. They're going to educate you. They're going to educate you about their products. They're going to educate you how they can help you because they want to make sure that they can work with you. So gather as many numbers as you can, make as many contacts, touches with people in the industry that are going to be able to share how they can help us in any market, right? Because when the market adjusts, we all adjust, right? So after I do my mixers, I kind of uh, do a little bit of self-evaluating of the day. I actually plan for the next day because the next day I could be at a closing at 9 or 10 o'clock. So that means I'm gonna go to the gym in the afternoon. Um, One thing that we do on the mastermind with the Wolfpack, uh, we talk about fitness. We talk about having the mental strength to be able uh, to perform for our clients, right? Just like any athlete, they practice, they stay healthy, they make sure if they get injured that they get treated. Well, we make sure that we're healthy. We try to make sure that we're in the correct mind space so we can take care of our clients. So planning will ease a lot of the mental stress that some people may experience in real estate. So that's just my day. Just be flexible, guys. But you do have to do things with intention.
I like that. I really like that, right? You can plan, but you also be flexible at the same time. And that's something that I think a lot of agents who are newer to the industry or looking to get into real estate struggle with, as far as they think that, because they have a real estate license, they can just do anything they want at any point. And it's not quite that flexible, but you do get to choose your own schedule instead of somebody else choosing it for you, and you get to plan your day at day by day instead of having somebody else tell you what your day should look like. So plan ahead, but you understand that you get to choose what hours you get to do certain things, right, depending on what your day looks like and what your activities look like, and essentially what is most important to you right now in your business. So it is really important. I think another new real estate agents will really, really want to know is how do they get their first client, right? And I think that's a big question that new agents ask all the time. So we'll start with you, Andres, on this one, and then we'll go to you, Tony. But how do you, as a real estate agent, brand new to the industry, get your first client and get your first closing?
So, one of the things I would like to share is I had a pretty awesome mentor. Her name's Christine Denny. Um, and she taught me, because I think I was trying to reinvent the wheel, or I was trying to invest in leads. And she was like, hey, you're working too hard. You have diamonds in your backyard and you need to mine them. And what she explained to me is that I got people that are close to me that already have built that relationship, like Tony mentioned, um, that know that I am highly invested in learning real estate and working in real estate. So, more than likely, one of my clients would be someone that I know in my sphere or circle. Um, I actually got my first client from a lead source, and I was able to close uh, get a deal within the first month, which is unusual. But what I tell people is like set an expectation, right? And I keep going back to expectation because sometimes clients could get frustrated, right? But us as real estate agents can get down because we set an expectation that might not be realistic. So what I was taught was like, hey, go ahead and plant seeds today, but those seeds will not grow or you won't see um, uh, anything come about from you planting these seeds till about 6 to 8 weeks. So if you're going out and meeting new leads, you're meeting new people, and you're making everyone aware that you're a real estate agent, don't be upset if you don't get your first client till 8 weeks. I've heard some people say 6 to 8 months, right? So that's a realistic expectation. Um, but the people that are close to you are the people who are going to believe the most in you, and they will be yelling out your name with a megaphone and letting all their peers and their friends know that you're a real estate agent. And what better way to grow your business than through your sphere?
Right, absolutely. It's a mine that not a lot of new agents even think about mining, right? A gold mine, which is their backyard, right? The people they already know. So what about you, Tony? I mean, if a new agent came up to you, right, you were their mentor, and they're like, "Hey, Tony, how can I get my first client? When can I expect my first closing?" What would you say to them?
Yeah. So for everyone, it's different. The main thing is like like we were talking about before here. It's really the people that already are familiar with you and are more than likely, probably 85% of the time, going to be that new agent's client. So who's on your phone? Like who have you connected with in the last year? you know and one of the mentors that are in our organizations, one of the trainings that I've been to, she's an amazing social media person, and she says, look, when I got here, when I was a brand new agent. Not only was I brand new agent, it was a new country, it was a new city. Like, she had no sphere of influence, but she actually would go to coffee shop. She would go and do her work there, and then she would try to connect with different people. She would just start growing organically and post on social media. Okay, that's what worked for her. But now, after she already started knowing people, she would say, okay, out of the people I know, if I could put them on a scale like 1 through 5, if this person's on a 2, how do I move them to a 3? If this person's on a 3, how do I get them to a 4? And so that's basically saying, how can I connect with those people to get them closer to me, so they can say, like, if they ever think about real estate, they're thinking about me, or someone else in their house, or a friend is talking about real estate. Hey, you need to talk to my friend. So that's where you want to get yourself, and you can do that again. You can do that before you get licensed. Okay, who's in your phone right now? Do I have their okay, I have their name and I have their phone number. Okay, what else do I have? Do I have their email? Um, if they're so what else can I do to provide value? And it's not just about necessarily calling them, but just calling and talk about real estate. You want to call them, how are they doing? If there's anything that you can do for them. Do they have any other questions? Do they have any questions that have to do with real estate or anything else? Like, don't just say, hey, I'm in real estate, can I help you buy a house in the next 6 months? It's really not about that. It's about establishing those relationships, reestablishing them in some cases, and then saying, like, okay, let's just meet up, let's just connect, see how everyone's doing, and then through those conversations, eventually it'll come up that you're in real estate, and that's planting a seed. And hey, if there's anybody in the future be interested in finding out some information about real estate, I'd love to be able to help them. That's how you kind of plant those seeds and grow them and cultivate them. It's really just a way to grow yourself through your own existing connections, and then they invite you to go somewhere, like Andres likes to invite people to see fights, or different things like that. Make sure to go to those events, because that's a way to reconnect with them, but also connect with potential new clients as well.
Don't be a secret agent.
Yeah,
Everyone has to know that you're in real estate and you're a realtor. Michael Jordan never said, I'm not a basketball player, right? So just be confident, educate yourself. That's how you're going to get confident, and make people aware. Tell everyone that you meet that you're a real estate agent, and that'll help grow your brand.
yeah. And they say this is a contact sport. So contact sport, when you think of contact sport, about football players, they actually physically make contact. Well, with real estate, you got to make the handshake contact. It's like meet them face to face as much as possible, and then reach out to your contacts.
Yep. Absolutely. Get out there, right? Like, I love it. Don't be a secret agent. This is something I think anybody who's looking to get into real estate needs to think about, right? Even if you're getting your license, like you were just talking about, Tony, earlier, you can start making connections. You can start making posts on your social medias, right? As you're getting your license, you could potentially even start sharing your experience, right? What are the things that you're learning in your real estate classes, right? Some interesting things that you didn't know before, right? Start sharing them, start expressing that you're a knowledgeable person, you're becoming a professional in the industry. So I think the last thing that a lot of agents will want to know is, or just new agents is, as a real estate agent, you obviously have to join with a broker, right? Doesn't matter what state you're in. If you are a licensed real estate agent, in order to practice legally, you have to hang your license with a real estate brokerage, right? So that's something that, if you're getting your license, definitely to start thinking about early. So as far as choosing a brokerage, right? Understanding what value a broker should offer and what value an agent should be expecting from their broker. We'll start with you, Tony. What should an agent be expecting from a broker, and what type of value should an agent be looking for as far as choosing the broker that they're going to be aligning with?
Yeah, and I think for a lot of agents, the number one question is, like, who, how do I get more training? Because they still, even though they check the box for they're a real estate agent, there's still, like, a lot of things, a lot of unknowns for them. So, look into what kind of training they will provide, and what kind of mentors they have available, and what are the resources. How much training can they participate in? Are they able to participate in different opportunities. Um, how in some cases the being with a bigger broker is helpful because some of the things they can do within a brokerage is like they can share listings within the brokerage. They can market open houses or physically participate in open houses to get their brand out there to show on social media. Hey, I'm having an open house. Whether those viewers are going to the open house, they're actually seeing you in an open house, and that's creating what's called a brand awareness. Like, hey, this person used to do this. Now I see them doing real estate. So now it's connecting them, connecting you to making a mind shift in their head. Okay, this person is in real estate. So being with a bigger brokerage, gives you some of those opportunities to expand and to meet more people within that network. And in other cases, smaller brokers don't quite offer those things. But in our case, we have like tons and tons of training, and a lot of it's recorded. If we're not available at those specific times, it's available. And look for a structured training regimen, and look for people that will help guide you throughout your first 30, 60, 90 days, and really your first 6 months, because those first few months and the first 6 months for certain are really critical as far as how you establish yourself and things like that. And for us, we ourselves love being with a broker that offers ownership opportunities, equity opportunities. So for us, it made sense. We build a nest egg of stock and some residual income that can keep coming. If we have a slower month, there could be residual income depending on our activities and how we help people within our brokerage and help them understand our brokerage model and stuff like that. So lots of things to consider. So that's
Right.
what I would advise.
Yeah, absolutely. Your broker is your business partner is kind of what you want to think about. It's like, who are you aligning with to actually build your business? So, Andres, what about you? You've been, when you started as an agent, you were with one brokerage, and then just recently now you actually switched brokerages. So, as a brand new agent, right? What would your, I guess, what would your advice to be for somebody who is thinking about joining a certain brokerage, or what should they be looking for as far as value being provided to them?
I think when looking for brokerage, you got to understand your needs, right? And also, um, what do you expect of yourself, right? Because a brokerage could provide a lot of things for you, but if you're not getting that education that's offered to you, if you're not investing the time to use the resources that are available to you, it really doesn't matter what brokerage you join, because at that point you're just setting yourself up for failure. There is some expectation that we have as real estate agents that we have to do. One of the things is being current with real estate information, any law changes that happen here in the state of Texas. So those things are made available as far as for us and with EXP through EXP World. But it's my job to go out and seek that information. So we also have to understand what expectation the broker has of us, because for us to take advantage of those resources, we got to hold ourselves accountable and be able to access uh, even like EXP World, right? We got to be able to navigate it, right? We got to be able, in the beginning, as a new agent, you might play with it and just trying to get to understand. I always recommend you play with the system first. And the reason is when a question arises, like, I need you to seek this information. Um, so you're not nervous as a new agent. You already know how to navigate through the resource, you're able to gather that information and then you're able to convey it to your client. So I think what was important for me was education as a new agent, being able to have someone that I can communicate with. Here in San Antonio, I have a small circle, which is great, which is Tony, Christine, Joseph, Shantae. These are people within my network that I can communicate with. I also have people that are not even physically here in San Antonio with me, and I'm able to work in different ventures as I am with Kobe. You're in Houston, but you're one of my resources, right? The Wolfpack, right? It's based out of Dallas, but we're gathered. We could get information from them. Um, so for me, is having accessibility to that information, which EXP has made that uh, very easy and simple. And then having access to the brokers and being able to navigate through EXP world, which I'm not gonna lie, but I was afraid of EXP World. It was something I had never tapped into. I thought it was going to be difficult. It's actually one of the simplest and actually the most comfortable setting that I have experienced as a real estate agent dealing with a broker. So that was great. So, and then you have to understand how much of an investment you're going to have to invest in the beginning when you join a brokerage. You got to have your MLS fees, you have your state fees, you have your brokerage fees. Um, Understanding how much money you should have aside to prepare for this journey is very important. Um, from what I've got from EXP, um, for the amount that I'm putting in, I'm getting all the resources I need. So just setting my expectation for myself, an expectation of how much money I need to set aside to continue to grow my business, and then not just holding the brokerage accountable, but holding myself accountable that I'm going to access the education they provide for me. And I think that it's a two-way street, guys. Um, this is a business, and you're running your own business. This is not a 9 to 5 where someone's going to tell you what to do and where to seek the information. You're going to have to get out here and seek that information.
Right. And that is very important, right? It's one thing to, know what your brokerage offers, right? And all the resources that you have on hand, but you have to actually take the initiative to access these resources, to actually take advantage of these resources, right? And that's why you want to think of your broker not like, as your boss, but you want to think of it as a partner, right? So they're going to provide what they provide, and then you have to do what you have to do on your end in order to leverage all the resources as well as an agent. So I think it's been a really helpful discussion for any new agents or anybody looking to get into real estate during 2024. We'll just wrap up with this, and we'll start with you, Tony. But what is the number one piece of advice you can give to somebody who is looking to get into real estate? If you can tell them one thing, what would it be?
My one thing is, we've been probably talking about it for a while, but don't be a secret agent. Just get yourself educated on lots of things that you were not educated in the past. But prep yourself with those tools and as much knowledge as possible, because like I love being able to provide just different solutions for people in different scenarios. If it's somebody that's looking for a first time home buyer program, we've got options for that. If they're have some issues with some credit challenges, or they just haven't met certain thresholds for the banks, we've got a rent to own type of program. And just different, knowing what tools are, and just align yourself with somebody, a team, or people that will say, okay, there's not a cookie cutter solution for everybody. So what are the needs of those people? And just being able to get yourself educated, knowing the right channels, and who are providing great education, not just a lunch and learn look at our beautiful house, but actually true knowledge and different resources and tools that you can use. So within within our group, we certainly uh, educate ourselves, and we share that education like sideways, up, down, in every direction. So that's what I love about our organization and our group is like when we know something that's valuable, we share it with our other agents in our shared network.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll wrap it up with you, Andres. What is one piece of advice? If you can tell them one thing, brand new agent, what should they be doing?
So, as far as for me, there is a couple of things I would recommend. Because I would just keep it straightforward. Um, don't be a secret agent. Everyone's gonna tell you, don't be a secret agent. Second of all, invest in yourself. If it's through education or if it's even buying business cards. I hear so many times where new agent is like, well, I'm not gonna spend that extra $100 for an extra 500 business cards. Guys, spend the extra money for those business cards because that's how you're going to build your network. And then have a second option. You run out of business cards, make sure you have an app that you could have a virtual business cards, and then you don't run into an issue if at some point you run short of business cards. Third of all, I would just goals. Set goals and set a plan for your first year. And it has to be a realistic goal that you could set benchmarks where you can keep account of your progression. Um, this is an industry where you can grow, um, but you gotta set goals and you gotta set expectations by having benchmarks. I would say like every quarter, you should be able to evaluate, understand what worked that quarter, what didn't work, and then get rid of what didn't, move forward with what did, seek more education to see what might be able to fill that void, and then keep pushing forward. So, out of all of those guys, I would say just setting goals and having a plan for your first year would be your best avenue for success. That was my avenue for success my first year. And I really I enjoy real estate a lot. I was a rookie of the year from our brokerage that year, so I enjoyed it.
Awesome, man. And hopefully you're listening to this or watching this. You can take that advice and become the rookie of the year in your brokerage as well, right? As a brand new agent. So again, thank you guys so much for sharing all of that with our listeners and our viewers. I think this is invaluable information for anybody who is looking to get into the industry, or anybody who is brand new to the industry as a licensed agent as well. If you are watching this and you are new to real estate, or if you are getting your real estate license or thinking about getting your real estate license, make sure to look at the description and the show notes down below this video and reach out to either Andres or Tony. They will give you advice, and they will make sure that you're taken care of as a as a new real estate agent as well, and maybe even be your partners and be your mentors, right? If you really feel like that they can add that type of value to you, and have a career long relationship with them as well, with all the resources that they have to offer you. So, other than that, guys, thank you again for tuning in. And we appreciate you tuning in every week to the Real Estate Roundup podcast. And we will see you here on the next show. Take care.
Take care, guys.